Well, today's episode is going to be a bit short due to the fact that I did not accomplish one goal for today, and that is review Impact No Surrender. The reason behind is because I didn't want to fall behind on certain things that I already planned out. So today we'll be only reviewing New Japan Pro Wrestling with more of the Fantastic Mania. This time they're in Osaka, I believe. Yes, in Osaka, Japan. Some interesting matches that were set up, and a very few ones that I did enjoy. And of course, we have AEW Rampage, where we have, of course, a, a interesting tag match between Aussie Open and the Young Bucks, Saraya versus Willow Nightingale, um, Action Andretti versus Sammy Guevara, and plus more. And of course, who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up. And of course, for our news updates to cap it up, we have some interesting matches and developments that have been going on in the pro wrestling. And not to mention, finally, the matches for the card has been announced for the All Star Junior 2023 Festival. And I think that's pretty much it what we're going to do for this particular episode. I'll explain more about this at more of things at the end of this video. So let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay, right here. So, let's begin with our very first review we're going to do right now. It's going to be New Japan Pro Wrestling with more of CMLL Fantastica Mania that took place in Osaka, Japan. And this is much recently that took place. Now, our opening match, we have a very interesting mix-up. We have the members of Bullet Club, Geto, and Taiji Shimori teaming up with Hijo del Villano III to take on Master Wato, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Tiger Mask. Now, recently there has been some friction between both Villano and, of course, Tiger Mask. The reason is, last time Villano removed Tiger Mask a match. I said once before I wouldn't be surprised if Tiger Mask gets his revenge on Villano for being the biggest dick ever. Several heel mask wrestlers have the tendency to remove their opponent's mask, but however, in this particular case, it was Master Wato who picked up the win for his team when he applied his submission move onto Geto, forcing him to tap out. However, in post-match, Villano, they're being the biggest dick on the planet, decided to attack Tiger Mask and try to push away Taguchi and Wato out of his way so he can move on his mask. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Villano third is stupid enough to challenge Tiger Mask, mask versus mask. Like, he probably will see Tiger Mask is a dead legend that needs to be removed. Because we have seen over the years how there's been different people who taken up the mantle. Don't remember what number is this guy in, but yes, that's how it rolls. Next match, we have Yo teaming up with Capitan Suicida to take on the members of Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito. Now, you probably can think this is like a bit of a recap between both Hiromu and Yo. Keep in mind, Yo had an amazing match recently against Hiromu. You wouldn't be surprised if he wants to have another round with them, but we should be expecting someone. But in this case, it was, of course, Hiromu who picked up the pinfall onto Captain Suicida to give him and Naito the W. Next match, we had Kosa Vegeta teaming up with Hiroshi Tanahashi and Komura to take on Show, Templario, and El Barbaro Carvanero. Now, keep in mind the one person that they need to keep an eye on is that scumbag Show. Is he always has ways to cheat his way through to cut corners for a win by applying, and he took advantage of it by, of course, using the wrench onto Kosa Fujita to pick up the win. I wouldn't be surprised if Kosa Fujita will get his hands on Show for what he's caused, but that's how he rolls his way. Next match, we have, of course, um, Yoshinobu Kanemaru Doiki teaming up with Hechicero to take on Místico Soberano Jr. and El Desperado. This is a very interesting matchup because you have, of course, Místico Soberano Jr. and El Desperado, three wrestlers in mask, and I thought it's a perfect combination. Um, and the one thing that also struck me is you have one side Doiki and Kanemaru on one side, and the other Desperado. Now, keep in mind, Desperado and Kanemaru were one of the best junior heavyweight tag team competitors in New Japan, and in the past, he has given a lot of heat to Doiki for being the weakest link of the group, and he always called them names and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Doiki thought, I finally got to get my little payback to kick his ass for what he's been saying to me. I think that's kind of felt that way. But in the way this match ended, it was, of course, a moonsault by Soberano onto Doiki that picked up the win. I thought it was a pretty fun match and very interesting. So, but I think this is the first, as you know, Doiki and Kanemaru has been already had won their first two matches, but this is the first time that they lost a match right now. Um, I mean, they have lost plenty, but this is only a few. So I think, okay, so let's move on to the next. We have our next match. Guys who many people thought these guys should have won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Bushi and Titan of LIJ to take on Dulce Cardena and Reiko Meta. This is one of those matches where, of course, we have seen Titan, what an awesome wrestler he can be, and one of the best junior heavyweight competitors. And I thought this tells it all until Titan applied El Inmortal into what's his name, to Dulce Gardena to pick up the win. And of course, I love Titan. He's an amazing guy. And now this match was part of a tournament that they set up. I don't know what the whole point is. This is the first round, but we continue with this one with more on the second one, in which is the main event. Our main event is Ultimo Guerrero teaming with Atlantis Jr. If you guys know this or not, Atlantis Jr. and Atlantis, his dad, and Ultimo Guerrero were part of a group known as Guerreros de la Atlantita, and now they reformed it. And the strange thing is, both their sons are involved in this. So basically, it's a father and son group, and I was a bit of surprised about that. But they take on the group of Magia Blanca and Volador Jr. They're also part of a group too back in CNL. I thought it was a good match, but however, it was, of course, Ultimo Guerrero that picked up the win onto Magia Blanca, giving him and Atlantis Jr. the biggest match. That's why Ultimo Guerrero is the veteran, and he is still at the top of his game, no matter how old he is. And it was a pretty good match. So there won't be any New Japan show on for Saturday, but they will be back on Sunday. So I will be following that too as well. So I think that's it for this. Let's move on to the next review, AEW Rampage. Okay, AEW Rampage opened up with the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson taking on Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, and of course, Mark Davis. Now, for the record, for those who probably ask yourselves, where the hell was Aussie Open? Now, to put it on record here, as you may or may not be aware, this information just made recently. Carl Fletcher and Mark Davis are not currently contracted with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, they were paid to be there due to the fact that they were participating in the World Tag League, which of course many fans thought they were going to win it, but that one ended up with Bushiman. They've been in fact in their native land of Australia, so we don't know yet when they'll be back. They have made their appearance in AEW just recently. They were part of the Battle Royale, the tag team Battle Royale recently on Dynamite, and now they're here. Now, one thing that was really cool is that this was a very difficult match for the Young Bucks. Now, keep in mind, the Young Bucks have been declared as one of the best tag teams of all time, one of the best tag teams in the world. But Aussie Open has been in that position now. They've been declared as one of the best tag teams of today. However, this is where things were getting interesting. Seeing things were not going the Young Bucks' way. They tried to isolate one member of the Bucks to ensure they pick up victory. But in the end, it was of course the BTE trigger but onto Kyle Fletcher that give the Bucks to win. However, because of this match was over, the lights turned off. We had no clue what was going on, and of course, we just saw it was the House of Black. Keep in mind, they're spreading their mind games. They are determined to say they're cleansing AEW from guys like the Elite, and they are determined to become our brand new AEW World Tag Team World Trios Champion. However, we don't know for sure if that match will take place in Revolution. I wouldn't be surprised if that's it, but if Tony Khan can make it happen, I'm sure it can. Now, we do get an interview with the Best Friends. As you know, they did not win the Battle Royale that they had, so they got the Casino Battle Royale coming up this Wednesday. But apparently, they were attacked by the Firm, none other than, of course, those sleazeballs, ass boys, along with Moriarty and Big Bill. This was more like doing a favor for Jarrett and Lethal. Keep in mind, the Acclaim have been on the thorn of the side of the uh, Lethal, Thud, and all that. Remember, they feud with Orange Cassidy, so it's more like they're trying to thin out the competition, and they did this. And of course, um, Jared Lethal and Dutt and Singh did the same thing to the Acclaim while they were being interviewed by Lex Lanier, sending a direct message. As you know, the Acclaim do have a guaranteed spot to be in Revolution, so they're trying to soften them up to thin out the competition. But will it be enough? We just gotta wait and see. Our next match, we have Tony Storm taking on Willow Nightingale. As you know, the war between, of course, the originals and the outsiders rages on. Willow Nightingale, who many people can say she is an original, but we do know her tag team partner, Ruby Soho, who has been well established in the wrestling world, is not an original. But I feel we're going to have three groups fighting over for the supremacy. Keep in mind, you have, of course, in this case, Tony Storm and Saraya, who are saying that the originals don't know nothing about pro wrestling. So that's how it's always been playing. Not to mention, much of this match will Nightingale did not have things in her way due to the fact that Saraya keeps interfering, but it did put Nightingale in a Storm Zero by Tony Storm to pick up the win. Now, the moment they were about to put the L on the chest, here comes Ruby Soho to save the day, and of course we saw Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter to get their hands on. Of course, I have a feeling that this match it could end where Ruby can walk out. I feel like she's the neutral ground amongst them because we're seeing this war. People will say that this is hopeless between those two sides. Who gives a damn about who's the original, who's the outsider? So we could see something like that, but don't keep your hopes up on that. Anything could possibly happen. Now, our next match, we have Lance Archer, who came back to take on Bryce Seton. Well, that did not go according to plan because apparently everybody died. He got laid waste by a big lariat by Lance Archer. Our next match, we have Sammy Guevara along with Daniel Garcia taking on Action Andretti. I thought it was a good match. Pretty interesting up. Now, you probably would have thought Action Andretti will get his way against Sammy, but no one, and no, as the X factor in this is Daniel Garcia being involved cost the match to ensure that this match goes to the sports entertainers. So sooner or later something's gonna happen. So we'll see until then. I think that's pretty much it right now with AEW Rampage. Let's move on with our last final review, NXT Level Up. Okay, so who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? So let's find out. Our first opening match, we have Axiom, who has been very impressive since arriving to NXT and NXT Level Up, take on the ever more cocky Kale Dixon. Now, you probably can guess why Kale Dixon is so cocky. He will do anything in his power to pick up a win, try to cut a little bit of the corners as possible, thinking that he had everything under his thumb. But however, you cannot deny the athletic of Axiom and his calculation to pull off his opening moment that would allow him to pick up the victory, which he did when he applied the golden ratio onto Kel Dixon and uno, dos, tres, adios. It was over right from there, and thank you for coming, Kel Dixon. Now, we do get an interview with, of course, a very interesting team that will be part of our main event, and that is, of course, Miles Bourne and Tank Ledger. Now, they're being paired up as a tag team. This is the first time these two have ever teamed up. Now, keep in mind, there have been some successful teams that have won in this, and of course, and there's those who can build up a good impression. So their opponents is none other than Tavon Heights and Damon Kemp. We'll get to that in a little bit, but they know what the task is at hand. Now, our next match, we have Soruka versus Lola Vice. Now, Soruka has been a part of the talk within the WWE Universe, NXT Universe, ever since she made a big impact a while back with her infamous move, the Soul Snatcher. That has always been part of her game. Now, you probably can guess that played out in very aspects to allow her to pick up a good win against Lola Vice, in which it did. So Lola Vice was taken out by the Soul Snatcher, and boom, uno, dos, tres. Soruka won the match. Now, our main event is tag team action. We have Tank Ledger and Miles Bourne teaming up for the first time to take on Tavon Heights and Damon Kemp. However, this was a very unique match because Tavon Heights and Damon Kemp have a few things in common. They have like the same amateur wrestling background, so that kind of fits in. But will that be in effect for them to pick up a good win together? You can say yes and no, but in this case, it was a good match. You can tell the desperation that both sides wanted to pick up the win, but in the end, it was, of course, a neck breaker by Damon Kemp onto Tank Ledger to pick up the win. But however, Miles Bourne tried to reach to break up the count, but it was too late. They couldn't. He was being detained by Tavon Heights in order for them to pick up the win. So that's very much it. What happened on NXT Level Up? I believe that is it for that. So let's move on to our final thing: news updates. Okay, reports are coming in about plans that we're making within Stardom in New Japan, mostly related to the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, the first one, as you know, we've been hearing that Azumi has challenged for the IWGP Women's Championship. They're saying that this match will take place in New Japan on April 8th at Sakura Genesis. So that is one of those days where, of course, it could be it. So, but they did say that this could be one of Mercedes Moné's final matches. We don't know if that's the case, but her next match after that will take place on the 23rd. This one was reported by, of course, by the Wrestling Observer, where they're saying that on the 23rd at All Star Dream Queendom, Mercedes Moné will be defending that title against Mayu Iwatani. Now, it would make sense if that's the case. However, the reason there has been talk about that, now keep in mind, the original plan for the IWGP Women's Championship was the fact that they wanted Mayu Iwatani to be the first champion. There were situation negotiations over a deal. Mayu Iwatani, Mayu was asking for more money. That's the reason the title went straight to Kairi. that was the motive. So that was the thing. So if this is the case where Monet loses the title to Mayu Iwatani, because many fans probably would have expected Mayu should have been the first winner. Yeah. But we'll see what happens then. However, in relations to Stardom, because of this, Meltzer also reported this. On that very same day for the All-Star Dreams Queendom, the World of Stardom Championship will be defended. Julia defends her title against Tam Nakano. Now, some fans believe that this match should not happen. They don't think this is the right moment for Tam Nakano to be in a match against Julia. Because I know many fans, like myself, we all want to see Tam to win the red belt. Many people think that maybe Tam this year will win the 5-star Grand Prix and probably win the red belt at Dream Queendom on December. That is something that is the possibilities, but we're not going to say it's going to happen. There's possibilities. We just got to wait and see on that. Now, for our GCW updates, we have, of course, for an I event on the 17th of March, Time Splitter, consistent of Alex Shelley and Kushida, will be teaming up to take on Jordan Oliver and Speedball Mike Bailey. I think this is going to be a good match. For the Bloodsport event that will take place at the GCW Collective on the 31st of March, we have two former Young Lions be facing off each other. We have Yuya Uemura taking on Alex Coughlin. I think this is going to be one hell of a match. I definitely don't want to miss it. Now, more on the Collective as well. The World on Lucha announced for the first on the this one will take place on the 1st of April. We're going to have Hijo del Vikingo taking on Laredo Kid. This is going to be a hell of a match. High flying, many spots. And finally, for I Can't Feel My Face event, that'll take place on the 16th of April. Davey Richards will take on Blake Christian. I think this is going to be a good one because Blake Christian thinks he's all that. Well, he's going to step into the ring with one of the most dangerous competitors ever and a very master submission specialist. So we'll see what happens then. Fightful Select has reported for within WWE, apparently the SVP, I think that's the Senior Vice President of Talent Relations and Strategy, is no longer with the company. He was terminated due to an HR violation. So that's what I've been hearing. Not much of the specifics has been put out about that. So wonder what he did to get lose his job. West Coast Pro announced for the home killer events on the 7th of April. We're going to have Jordan Oliver taking on the bounty hunter, Brian Keith. Now, for Defy Wrestling, for the Realist, that will take place on the 8th of April. We're going to see a bit of a rematch between two competitors, Swerve Strickland versus, of course, Nick Wayne. Now, keep in mind, Nick Wayne had dealt with Swerve, and he lost that match big time. But, however, Swerve is the current Defy champion. He will put that title on the line against Nick Wayne. Okay, we have for the All-Star Junior 2023 Festival, they announced for the participation of the competitors. This is what we have so far. Let me pull it up real quick. Here's what we have. We have a 6-man tag match between Fujita Junior Hayato, Asuka, and Hiromu Takahashi, all three of them champions in their respective promotions. Of course, Fujita Junior Hayato, he's from Michinoku Pro Wrestling. They take on Yamato, Hayata, and Kazuki Hishimoto. I think this guy, Hishimoto, he's from Big Japan Pro Wrestling. So there's that. Next match, we have an 8-man mask wrestling tag team match. We have Mystico, Gurukun Mask, Billy Ken Kid, and Alejandro taking on Dragon Kid, Bushi, Black Mansuri, and Alexis Jr. Next up, we got another 6-man tag match. We have Mitsuru Sato, Ryusuke Taguchi, Yumehiro Inamura to take on the Great Sasaki, Tiger Mask, and Batten. That's going to be a good one. We have a three-way tag match. We have Volador Jr. and El Desperado teaming up to take on Doiki and Hanakoa versus Yuki Unoue and El Lindaman. We're going to have a five-way match. This is between Shun Skywalker, Yohei, Taiji Shimori, Ninja Mac, and Soberano Jr. Then we have a tag match between Single Kurakat and Maho to take on Onru and Sho. Our next match, we have a bit of a 10-man tag match. We have Rauchi Takaiwa, don't know where it's from, Taka Michinoku, Minoru Tanaka, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Jun Kasai to take on Masashi, Leona Koda Sekifuda, and Akira Kikuta, Chicharito Shoki. I hope I pronounced it right, but yeah. And then finally, we have our singles match. Master Wato taking on Aoyagi. I think that's yeah. It's Asushi Oyagi. So basically, that's the matches that will be taking place at the All Star Junior. But however, those matches are not perfectly in order, but we'll find out one on the day. So if you guys plan to see it, it will be on the New Japan on demand. So that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it for now. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I will be, of course, reviewing the latest Glitch show for the G Pro Wrestling version of 45 that happened a couple of days ago. We're also going to be talking about the latest Gambari Pro show that you can see on YouTube. I'll explain more about that at some other time, the next episode on that. NWA USA. Trying to remember what other ones. Oh yeah, Impact Wrestling No Surrender. I will also be doing that too, and there's plenty others that I may do everything in one day. So we'll go from there from point A to point B. However, for the Choco Pro show, there were some delays. They say they will upload that, so I will do that. However, they will upload the latest Got to Move show that took place in Yokohama. I'm so excited to review that as well. What else? Oh yeah, stay tuned for the next edition for DWZ discussion. We'll be talking about Jungle Kyona. If you guys haven't heard what's been going on, then you guys better look it up. If not, then I'll explain it to you guys on that particular edition of DWZ discussions. So for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.